Nothing to hide, and I'm gonna break it straight down the pipe for you, face to face.
Being tough gets you hurt. This is a sharp game, a skill game, a chess game, and I think people see that.
Having lost that fight, walking out of the ring, what were your memories? What did you think?
Boxing's a lot tougher than I expected.
UFC.
You don't even know. You don't know my ability though.
That's true. That's true.
You don't.
I don't know where you might go. I just give you where I think you're at, which I'm entitled to, which is average. Average is very common.
Jake Paul walks into the interview like a man who has never met consequences a day in his life. He's glowing with self-belief, the kind of confidence usually reserved for toddlers who think they can fly if they run fast enough. He smirks, he flexes, he warns Joshua that people underestimate him. As if Joshua, a former heavyweight champion, woke up that morning thinking,
this relentless style, this forward pressure, taking lots of damage and not giving a fuck and returning that damage more than what his opponents are giving him. And I
hope this YouTuber goes easy on me. Meanwhile, Joshua sits there like a man who came to do taxes, not talk trash. Cool, unbothered, borderline bored the energy of a guy who has fought actual killers in the ring and now has to entertain someone who made his career doing pranks in a garage. The contrast is hilarious. Jake is all fireworks. Joshua is all granite. Jake wants to prove he belongs.
I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you.
Joshua wants to prove he's already proven everything, and yet somehow this tension is electric. It feels like watching a house cat meow at a lion. You know how it'll end, but you still can't look away. Jake Paul hears the word average like it's the gravest insult man has ever uttered. He nearly combusts on the spot. To him, average is worse than losing, worse than critics, worse than anything else. It's the idea that he's normal, and Jake Paul refuses to be normal.
His own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Going into that fight, it seems like he believed that he was just gonna dominate him. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Everybody was like, look, to Joshua, I think you're done.
Right after he knocks out Francis Ngannou, and it's like, everyone's like, you're back.
Yeah.
Flattened Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh, Joshua.
He fires back with the intensity of someone who believes destiny owes him greatness. He insists boxing is harder than he expected, which, honestly, is the least surprising revelation since water confirmed it was wet. And yet, he refuses to shrink. Meanwhile, Joshua gives him the look teachers give kids who insist they know more than Google. It's not pity, not disrespect, just the quiet awareness that he's miles ahead and doesn't need to brag about it. This exchange is the perfect setup. Jake clawing for validation, Joshua operating from a throne he didn't build overnight. It's underdog roars at giant energy, the kind audiences secretly hope turns into an upset, even though physics says otherwise.
See the fight that's reportedly being worked on for December 19th in Miami.
Did I see the fight being worked on December 19th in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
Fair enough.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what. A lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. I think everybody's going to get...
Jake Paul swears this isn't another celebrity boxing gimmick. And honestly, he sells the line well. He leans in, voice steady, eyes burning, proclaiming this is a real test, the biggest of his life. He talks about greatness like he's narrating a Nike commercial, and whether you believe him or not, you can't deny the man knows how to promote. Joshua, however, responds with veteran ice. He respects Jake's business moves because how could he not? The boy prints money by breathing. But he also makes it clear, when that bell rings, respect evaporates. Instinct takes the wheel. It's not trash talk, it's not bravado. It's simply a warning. You can sell the fight, kid, but you can't sell survival. The suspense here is delicious.
Jake Paul. Excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. He can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So...
About possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. That's protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's his...
Jake sees opportunity. Joshua sees obligation. Jake sees legacy. Joshua sees a tune-up with better branding. 2 different worlds, 1 ring, no escape. Jake doubles down on his boldest claim. He can and will defeat Anthony Joshua. Not maybe. Not if everything goes perfect. Nope. He declares it with the confidence of a man who's never been hit by someone who weighs 255 pounds and punches like a malfunctioning asteroid. He calls Joshua stiff, says he has no chin, and insists he has no skill. It's the kind of trash talk that makes even his own fans clutch pearls. Yet the twist? He says all of this lovingly, like he's roasting his best friend at a birthday party. It's chaotic. It's unhinged. It's beautiful.
Tyson Fury just comes out with an interview saying that he thinks Jake Paul will knock out Anthony Joshua. I think this is probably like a troll attempt to get Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury, but then again, I don't know. Maybe Alexander Usyk did more damage than we thought. I think Jake Paul knocks him out, Fury told Ring Magazine when asked about Paul versus Joshua. I just think Jake Paul would knock out Anthony Joshua out. I think Jake Paul is on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look, a bit chubby, a bit bulky, getting there. And he just did a great job over the aging. I mean, the fool was like almost 40, you know, and he like was not a fighter for a long time or a boxer, you know. He's just in it for the check and the name value of his dad, you know. Aging Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he was a middleweight, but still. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Who'd he call out? Tank Davis and Joshua? That's just crazy. I see Richter Scale call-outs. Exactly. I will say, I don't know, Gervonta Davis could beat him too, even though he does outweigh...
Like he's listening to a toddler brag about beating him in a push-up contest. The wildest part? Jake actually believes every word. That's the magic or madness of Jake Paul. He lives in a universe where self-belief writes the laws of physics. The drama writes itself. Stephen A. Smith unleashes a verbal hurricane on Jake Paul's entire boxing journey. He's tired. He's irritated. He's done with Jake, calling out retirees, legends, and men who haven't boxed since Obama's first term. Will Jake Paul shock the world and rewrite the laws of boxing physics? Will Anthony Joshua remind him why the heavyweight division is a bad place to test your delusions?
It's a win-win for Jake Paul is because, listen, if he wins, then he's beating a former heavyweight boxing world champion, certainly one of the best heavyweights of his generation, and of course, a man that is way bigger than Jake Paul. Of course, it's a win. And if he loses, it's still a win for Jake Paul because he had the balls. He was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not Gotta beat him. So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy sh**. Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him.
Or will the world walk away from this fight with more questions than answers? No matter what happens, one thing is guaranteed. You're watching history, messy, expensive, explosive history. So grab your popcorn, grab your friends, grab your emotional support pillow if you're Team Jake. Because when these two finally meet in that ring, somebody's legacy is getting upgraded and somebody's face is getting rearranged. And that, my friends, is the beauty of boxing's most ridiculous, profitable, chaotic chapter yet. Stay tuned, stay loud, stay unbothered. The real fight is just
happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work? Like, how do you even... Never mind. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's not official and I don't think it's happening. So let's just not even broach that subject. But let's talk about the Anthony Joshua fight. And I want to hear the clip again because I just can't believe what I'm hearing. Let's play it again.
I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will beat. He just got knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this shit, but I want to fight you.
So Jake says he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He says he's gonna beat Anthony Joshua's ass. That he doesn't have a chin. That he has no skill. And that he's stiff. And then you hear Derek again with the porn creeper stash chime in. Didn't he just get knocked out? Yeah, by Daniel Dubois, who is a reigning heavyweight champion of the world. Not that that means anything at all, I don't guess. Yeah, Jake's just flat out wrong here with a lot of his critiques of Anthony Joshua in comparison to himself. Like, if you want to say for the elite heavyweights in the world that Anthony Joshua has a little bit less skill and is more stiff than they are, then okay, but Anthony Joshua is still an elite heavyweight in the world. And then to go as far as to say, I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass, that he doesn't have a chin, no skill, he's stiff. Like, again, Jake can have this opinion. And he says that, that we're friends and I love you, but I want to fight you. And Jake may even believe that, but he's just wrong. Like, Anthony Joshua took heavy shots against Daniel Dubois before he was knocked out, and really, the reason he was knocked out is because he got in a firefight and threw an uppercut as a lead because Ben Davidson...
With stakes this massive, the fight becomes unpredictable. Joshua wants the cash without the clownery. Jake wants immortality and chaos in equal measure. One man wants to protect his legacy, the other wants to steal one. Someone is leaving that ring hurt. Someone is leaving rich. Someone is leaving shocked. The only guaranteed winner's the fans.